Hello everyone. I'm going to make a video to try to clear up some questions about ammunition and the legalities of it. I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. This is strictly for information and education purposes only. I am not a lawyer. So here we go. This complete round would be called a round or a cartridge. A technical name would be a cartridge when it's completely ready to go, ready to put in the rifle and fire. It has obviously the piece of brass that I'm holding on to. It has a primer in the rear, which we'll discuss in a minute. It has a projectile on top, and you won't be able to hear it, but if you shake it, you'll feel there's powder on the inside. Pretty simple. So whenever the firing pin comes down, it's like a little nail, it hits that primer on the back. That primer causes a little mini explosion that ignites all the powder inside. As the pressure builds and builds and builds, boom, it forces the projectile, the bullet, out and down the barrel. So, to start with, this is a primer. They're about the size of, well, a BB or something, depending on which cartridge you're working with, but they're not very big. They're just shiny and smooth on one side, and then it has the, whatever it is that explodes, nitroglycerin or whatever, on the inside. That's what shoots the powder into the cartridge. If you notice on the back of a new cartridge, there's a hole where the primer goes. Look at that bad boy, everybody. You see that? 338 Lapua Magnum. Boy, I bet Paddock would shit his drawers if we had one of these, huh? This is the puny thing Paddock had. 223s. This is 338 Lapua. This is 300 Win Mag. Which 300 Win Mag actually used the same projectile as the 308 he had. The 7.62 is the same actual projectile bullet as the 308. It's just different brass and different powder. So, whenever you buy projectiles, these are actually special type for my 338. They're coated in a special blah blah blah. It doesn't matter for this video. But you can buy them in all different forms. You can buy hollow point ones, you can buy these special ones like I got, you can buy some that are full metal jackets. And if you see that one's got that, they call it ball ammo or whatever, it's got that lead deal on the tip of the point. I'm not very familiar, or don't keep up with all the words and terms. I know what I'm talking about and what I'm doing. The words is just fancy, too fancy for me to keep up with. Anyway, you can see that's another little hollow point on the 223. It's just a nickel case instead of brass, but it's all considered brass if you're talking about it. You'd still refer to that as the brass. So anyway, you can buy the projectiles as military surplus that are armor piercing. For some reason, I don't know why, the legalities of this, that, and the others, but the military, when they sold them as their surplus, they were already loaded as a complete cartridge, and then they took a special machine, a puller, and they pulled this projectile out, and then they just sell them as projectiles instead of selling them complete ammunition, complete round. I don't know why they did that, other than I can think of one is maybe they figure if they sold it as complete ammunition, then anybody can buy it off the shelf and put it together and use it. Whenever you sell them as projectiles, it is perfectly legal and okay for me to do, to load these back up and make a round, because that's what I'm going to do with these. Or I could do it with armor piercing ones if I had it. It would be just as legal. But that kind of thins the field. Not very many people that out there reloads compared to the number of people that just shoots. So kind of thins the herd is how many people can actually get those armor piercing rounds and then load them up yourself and shoot them. However, you do get into some issues with the paperwork. Let me get to the one I wanted to show you guys first. This one is a person who reloads ammunition. That would be what this is. Buying the case and the parts and putting them together myself. Am I required to have a license to do so? If the purchase is a person engaged in business of selling or distributing reloads for the purpose of a livelihood and profit, yes, he must have a license. know if the person reloads only for personal use. So I can load these up till the cows come home, and I need no license for that. If I load these up and I sell them to Stephen Paddock or Doug Haig or anybody else, I do need a license for that, because that would then be funding my livelihood. So you get into some really gray areas when you start talking about, can a person like Doug Haig buy the military surplus bullets, then load them up himself and sell that if he has a license to sell ammunition. That gets into a real gray area, selling those loaded armor-piercing rounds that's already loaded. According to all the books, you're not supposed to sell them at all without special licensing, and only the military is supposed to be able to buy them from you. So you'd have to have a license and a contract just to do business with the military, or else you're not supposed to be manufacturing those at all, period, end of discussion. So the only way these, if Doug Haig made armor-piercing projectiles and then sold them, or he made them and then did anything with them, if he manufactured the actual projectile, he can be in a lot of trouble for manufacturing armor-piercing projectiles. As far as if he bought armor-piercing projectile surplus from the Army, you can do that all day long. I don't know why it's so legal. It's legal for you to buy them from the Army, but it's not legal for you to make them yourself. It's stupid, but that's just how it is. No one ever said American politics was smart. That's just how it is with it. So I hope this cleared up a lot of questions. If it not, then send it to me and I'll try to do a little bit better. Try to finish off with, whatever you need, send it to me and I'll try to answer it if it's firearms related. I'm not the best speaker in the world, but I got a ton of information I could share. I was going to also include that a person that's licensed to manufacture firearms, which is different now from a dealer of firearms, a manufacturer of firearms can, yes, he can also manufacture ammunition. However, a person that is licensed as an ammunition manufacturer is not allowed to also manufacture firearms. So if you have a firearm manufacturer license, you can manufacture everything. If you only have the ammunition license, you can only manufacture ammunition. So there's a whole bunch of loops, and I'm pretty sure they do this just to confuse people and trip them up so they can catch more people breaking the law and get more funding. That's kind of my theory. Oh, and for those that don't know, this is what the gunpowder looks like. I poured a little out in a cup so you guys could take a look. It's not, pretty much like black sugar. Highly flammable though. This is not black powder. This is called gunpowder, smokeless powder, synthetic. So there is a difference. We won't go into that now, but there is a difference. Alrighty, well thank you guys for watching again. I hope this cleared a few things up, and have a good day. Thank you, bye.